and welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always, here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So this midweek podcast, we are going to be going over the Rate My Dungeon series. This is a series where we go over each and every single dungeon, give them a rating out of 10 based on how many bosses they have, the loot that they give, how simple the dungeon is, how noob friendly we'll call it, and just how good the bosses are and the mobs hold up to this day. There are obviously different versions of the instance, so if there are multiple versions of it, such as most of the revamps from Alderman, Dead Mines, that kind of thing, then we will be going over both of the iterations and just saying which ones might be better and what happened during the revamp. But essentially, we'll be starting off with the classic version and then the revamp if needed. So, we are up to, I believe, 10th? Our 10th week. I'm going to quickly check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, 10. Oh, I was spot on. I should have trusted my instincts. We are on the 10th dungeon, and this leads us into Zul'Farrak. Now, Zul'Farrak is a dungeon that can be found in top left of Tanaris. Tanaris being the bottom right zone of Kalimdor. Around level 42 to 46 this instance. You're looking at a very, very solid instance. With 6 bosses, 9 potential with rares. You can include the ones that are quest item givers, such as the Hydromancer near Gazrilla and stuff like that, but I didn't count them. I think it would be a total of about 14 if you include them, but they have no actual gear that you can get off of them apart from the quest items, so they are not counted in my list. How simple is the raid? Well, in terms of its layout, it is very, very simple. It's very simple. It's basically a straight line, and then it branches off into 2 directions which lead round onto each other. You can go right and it will take you round to a couple bosses. You can go left, it will take you round to a lot more mobs and a couple bosses, but eventually you'll all just be going round in a circle. So it is very, very simple and you cannot get lost. How good is the loot in this dungeon? So the dungeon loot in this instance is very good. You have multiple items such as a Hexen Staff, which is very good for casters if you're in the classic mindset. It will probably last you until a Molten Core Staff, even, like, potentially if you get unlucky. You're looking at some big bad shoulder pads from the last boss, which are very good for melee warriors more specifically. You're looking at multiple things that are very, very useful going into the end game of your classic journey. The Zul'Farrak dungeon is iconic for its stairs boss. Now, the stairs boss is very much, you go up to the top of the Executioner's plateau, you kill the Executioner and you free the 5 prisoners up there. When you do this, you'll be at the top of the staircase and there will be loads of zombies that spawn down at the bottom. You can choose to wait it out and, they slowly come up the stairs and you kill them a few at a time. Or you could choose to go down there like a bunch of maniacs and AoE every single one down. And of course, if you don't AoE them, you're not living life on the edge in WoW. It's very iconic, and there has never been anything like this in another dungeon since, I believe. Not to my recollection, anyway. So it's amazing. The mobs in there are very good. They're very good in terms of the XP they give. You have optional mobs that you can grind, as from the graves, where you open up the graves and essentially you get a little bit of loot and it has a chance to spawn some zombies. All very, very good XP, and it's very much worthwhile doing this instance. Did it have a revamp in Cataclysm? No, it's one of the dungeons that actually survives the revamp, essentially. I don't think anything got changed in it, apart from updated models, but that was about it. So it's a rarity in WoW, essentially. It's looked upon the community as a very, very solid dungeon. And with that, I will be giving it a rating 8 out of 10. So there's not, it'll be very few that are 10 out of 10, if any. There'll be maybe one or two that are 9 out of 9 out of 9 out of 9, 9 out of 10. But this is a very solid 8 out of 10. As soon as I'm in that bracket range to go to Zul'Farrak, I'm going there on a healer, tank, DPS, whatever it is. I'm going to Zul'Farrak as soon as I get in that range, because it has an abundance of quests such as Troll Temper, Gazrilla, your first ever trinket potentially with Carrot on a Stick. You know, it's iconic because of just the bosses that are in there, the quests that are in there, and the stairs, the great stairs, essentially. But 8 out of 10 is a very solid rating. I don't think many people would put it lower. I think some people might even put it a little bit higher, maybe 9 out of 10. Some people might think it's the perfect dungeon, and you're more than welcome to think that. I think it's a very, very solid dungeon, and I think a lot of dungeons should be based around Zul'Farrak rather than Dead Mines in terms of longevity and design, because it gives you the kind of idea that you have a choice, but ultimately you're only ever going to go one way, and I think that that's very good, to be honest. You can maybe add like a small path in the middle just to go straight to the stairs boss and, straight to the last boss, that kind of thing, but there are skip runs essentially that you could do to just do that. It will just take you a minute or two longer, essentially, running there. But that is it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. Do check out the podcast episode this week. It will be going over Dragonflight and just how good my sort of reaction is to it at the moment, and a lot of the community's reaction, in my opinion. But, yep, check out the Patreon as well for ad-free content as well as Twitch and YouTube. The Twitch will be going live when this episode goes live, Wednesday at 7 GMT. We'll be doing raiding on Classic just for an hour or so. Very small stream. Might get into some more Dragonflight after that. But yeah, thank you all very much for listening as always. And go with Valor, friend. Goodbye all.